Hello, everybody. It's with great pleasure that I welcome you to the Literature Connect. Today, we are going to look at Memo to the 21st Century by American poet Philip Appleman. When human beings have left no stone unturned to destroy nature, when our very own capital Delhi struggles to breathe with toxic air quality, when all of our natural resources have been polluted, and every piece of land has been encroached upon by the real estate mafia in collusion with the most corrupt politicians, when we are not going to spare even the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, when the entire ecosystem is being threatened in the name of so-called development. This poem conveys a really touching message. Towns fingered out to country once, where brown-eyed daisies waved a fringe on orchards, and cattle munched at clover, and fishermen sat in rowboats and were silent, and on gravel roads boys and girls stopped their cars and felt the moon and touched, and the quiet moments ringed and focused, lakes, moon, flowers. That is how it was in Indiana. But we are moving out now, scraping the world smooth where apples blossomed, paving it over for cars. In the spring, before the clover goes purple, we mean to scrape the hayfield, and next year the hickory woods. We are pushing on, our giant diesel snarling. And I think of you, the billions of you, wrapped in your 21st century concrete. And I want to call to you to let you know that if you dig down past wires and pipes and sewers and subways, you will find a crumbly stuff called earth. Listen, in Indiana once, things grew in it. Well, let's get a bit deeper into this poem. The poem, as you know, is set in Indiana in the 21st century. Indiana is a part of the northern region of the United States of America, one of the states in the north. And this is a letter addressed to the people of the 21st century in Indiana, and I believe by extension to the entire world. The poem speaks about how life was once in Indiana. Towns slowly merged into the countryside. You had beautiful daisies surrounding apple orchards, endless fields and farms, with cattle, cows and buffaloes and sheep and goat and lamb, munching at beautiful grass and flowers, fishermen sitting silently and fishing on beautiful lakes in the moonlight, young lovers on gravel roads admiring nature. And in the second stanza of the poem, you can very clearly see the contrast between then and now. And now in the 21st century, Indiana is no longer the countryside. It is all towns, and more than that, it is cities. It is urbanization, it is development, the kind of progress that we all want, isn't it? But the picture that Philip Appleman paints is far from rosy. In place of apple orchards and flowers and grasslands and fields and unpolluted air, we now have only cement pavements and roads. The fields are gone, the woods are gone. It's only giant machines fed on diesel and belching out endless smoke. So there is concrete and roads and buildings everywhere. And the poet ends with a very fervent appeal to all his fellow human beings who are wrapped in concrete. And he reminds them that if they dig down, deep down all that they have built, they will find something called earth. Once upon a time, things grew in it. And we all know that things cannot grow where there is no life. The earth is our mother. The earth is the source of all life. And it is this very earth that has been brutally killed and covered in layers and layers of concrete. So, for all our progress and development, we are ultimately a dead civilization. And this is Philip Appleman's Memo to the 21st Century. Philip Appleman was an American poet and writer, professor emeritus at the Department of English at Indiana University, known for 7 volumes of poetry and 3 novels and lots of non-fiction books, having won a whole lot of prestigious awards. If we look at the themes in this poem, I think it is amply clear to us that the poem is a big wake-up call to humanity to introspect about the direction in which they are going. It's a contrast between the past and the present, the old and the new, between the beauty of nature and the selfishness and greed and foolishness of human nature. The development debate rages on. What is the cost of development? If it is the destruction of nature, is it worth paying the cost? The soil, the vegetation, the ecosystem are all dominant themes in this poem. When nature is devalued, when the earth is covered with concrete, humanity itself is being devalued. It is no longer an ecological crisis, it's also a spiritual crisis. The loss of connect with nature is very, very amply portrayed. Instead of the fishermen and the lovers and the admirers of nature and the animals and the flora and the fauna, what we now have are giant diesel machines and cars and concrete roads and buildings, all of them lifeless. And the poet is desperate for us to dig down and find our connect with that crumbly stuff called earth, which holds life. And therefore, Philip Appleman's poem questions the real meaning of modernity and whether urbanization actually means progress. When we look at the style of the poem, certain things definitely stand out. It's written in a very simple and conversational style, and nothing very complex about this poem. In fact, the power of the poem lies in its ability to create contrasts, its love for nature, and its passionate appeal to humanity, which is put in a very understated manner without any unnecessary sentiment or melodrama. So here we are with the stylistic aspects, its conversationality, its deceptive simplicity, the element of contrast, written in the first person, the poet himself narrating his experience, full of evocative rural imagery, very powerful images of flora and fauna of the countryside and the small town, moving on to the powerful images and symbols of urbanization and development. There is some unique use of language, of course. Instead of beautiful white or pale yellow daisies with brown center, the word used is brown-eyed daisies waving a fringe. Brown-eyed daisies creating a beautiful border for the orchards. A kind of life is infused through such kind of personification. We have lovers feeling the moon, not just watching it, not just admiring it, but feeling it. There is this description of the slow pace of life with cattle munching at grass and flowers, with lovers, with fishermen, all of them sitting in meditation and experiencing the beauty of life. There's the use of scraped, which means that all of this old beauty is being scraped away for lifeless concrete. All these precious things are being paved upon. The use of snarling gives a menacing quality, a dangerous quality to the giant diesel machines, the technology that we all are so proud of. And there's this use of wrapped in 21st century concrete. A very, very suffocating and startling image. We are literally wrapped today, unable to breathe, unable to enjoy the seasons, victims of climate change, global warming, natural disasters. And there's this reference to earth as crumbly stuff, something so delicate, something just crumbling, just falling apart, source of all life, but being so mercilessly butchered by human beings. The irony at the end of the poem is, of course, remarkable, that the source of all life is hidden and damaged and being destroyed and neglected and forgotten. Whereas we take pride in wrapping ourselves up in the lifeless concrete of the 21st century. There's a call to listen and to focus on the priceless, life giving potential of the earth, the soil, the nature, the ecosystem that we have taken for granted, exploited so ruthlessly, and destroyed, sometimes beyond repair. To critically read this poem, one must know that Appleman was a great lover of nature. He was a Darwinian. The humanity versus nature dilemma, nostalgia, love of the rural countryside always dominates his poems, which are, of course, a biting satire on society, on the hypocrisy and the inhumanity of human beings. Being a Darwinian and a great nature lover, he was against all forms of institutionalized religion which put humanity over nature. But on the other hand, Appleman always expressed the dilemma of faith. Perhaps his tirades against religion were a reaction to the absolute misuse of religious values in the name of religion by so called hypocritical religious leaders and organizations. There's this another very powerful poem by Philip Appleman which conveys his philosophy very clearly. O karma, dharma, pudding and pie, give me a break before I die. Grant me wisdom, will and wit, purity, probity, pluck and grit. Trustworthy, loyal, helpful, kind, give me great abs and a steel trap mind. And forgive ye God some humble advice, these little blessings would suffice to beget an earthly paradise. Make the bad people good and the good people nice. And before our world goes over the brink, teach the believers how to think. Appleman's prayer is not just to the gods but also to each of us, and trying to emphasize that all talk of religion and morality is absolutely futile if one does not have the basic humane values which allow us and our ecosystem to coexist in harmony. For further reading, I'm sharing some resources with you. I hope this session has been of some use. Thank you. See you soon. Goodbye.